Hey, Ruben here. I wanted to give you a quick story about the power of the secret before I had any idea or saw a movie, a book, or anything like that. Only after the fact that I remember, back in my teenage years, I accidentally pulled the secret out of the hat. So I was always a big fan of cars. And at 18 years old, I decided, well, as a big fan and, not having any money, I decided my first job was going to be valet driving. So I chose a hotel that my parents worked at, where it just happened to be one of the finest hotels in Dallas, Texas, called the Anatel Hotel. All the superstars go there. In other words, actors, rich people. And as a valet, you get to drive very nice cars. So after X amount of months, I drove what I felt was, a dream car, but something that was just different. It wasn't a Ferrari, Lamborghini, Mercedes, anything like that. But I just remember that it was a Targa top convertible, and it just felt amazing. So I finished parking it, and as I'm, locking the car up, I noticed the Toyota emblem on the back. And I said, how can this car be a Toyota? It felt like a Ferrari, like a supercar. So then I read the rest of it. It's called a Supra. Never heard of this car before. This is back in 1997, 1998. I was still in high school. So anyway, I thought, well, just like any other car. So I finished my shift, I went home, and this is a long story, so I'm gonna try to cut it short. Because it was a Toyota, it planted a seed in my head at 18 years old that it was possible. When you see Ferrari or something like that, it's like, it's not possible for me, not at 18 years old. But Toyota, you can somehow, some way do this in the future when you're older and when you have a job, when you have money. So anyway, I found myself a few weeks later at the mall doing those poster Rolodex, if you remember those. And sure enough, here is the Toyota Supra as a poster. I thought, oh wow, perfect. What I felt was an attainable supercar, dream car, is now a poster. So I bought it right away, and I put it up on in the wall of my room next to Ken Griffey Jr., baseball player, I was playing baseball at the time, and it was my favorite. But anyway, every single day I would look at the car and my mind would think, it's possible. So fast forward X amount of weeks later, I just had this craving that I needed to somehow, some way figure out a way to drive this car. So I figured, hey, let me pick up an Auto Trader, that magazine way back in the day, and see if somebody's selling it. Now, I don't have any money, but I felt I was pretty sales savvy, so I felt like I can go test drive it and then just negotiate it very, very low, or they'll say no, and I got what I want to be able to drive the car. So for the X amount of weeks, every time I would see a Toyota Supra at a dealer, I would go to the dealer and test drive the car, have a great old time. And then by the time it came time to negotiate, they said 20,000. I would say something like 10. Oh, well, we can't do 10. Oh, well, then I guess I can't afford it. So anyway, some time later, I probably drove this car every weekend for many weeks or months. The dealers were getting, wiser to us kids test driving their cars. So they were going through the qualification process before we could ever drive it. So now I had to move to individuals selling the Toyota Supra. So anyway, I kept on going to different individuals, same thing, be able to drive, feel that the car was mine, and just dream about it and the poster and driving and everything. Until one day, I go to do the normal weekend test drive from someone else that had it, and I come into like a high rise. So someone that's very, very well off. And to this day, I still remember I had my 1988 Honda Prelude, by the way. That's what I drove, thinking about the Toyota Supra that I paid $1,900 for, by the way. And I remember I knocked on the door and a person came and said, "You're here for the Supra?" "Yeah, go to the back." So I go to the back and there's like, 4 or 5 different garage doors, wondering which one is gonna open. So sure enough, like a dream, one of the middle garage doors starts opening, and bit by bit I see those 3 lights on each side. For those who know the 1993 to 1998 MKIV Toyota Supra. Black with that wing, it was absolutely gorgeous. So same old thing. The guy drives it, pulls it out of the garage. We go test drive, come back. I think at this time it was $18,000 or something like that. And I say 12,000. The guy goes, "Well, I can't do that, but I tell you what, I'll go from 18 to 16.5 or something like that." "Well, I can. I'll go check if my bank will give me a little bit more or whatever." "Okay, well, let me know." So, like I've always done, after I leave, I had my fun. I had my vision, thinking that it could be mine for X amount of minutes when I'm driving it. But the guy calls me a few days later saying, "Hey, what did the bank say?" And from there, and that was the first time really that I get a call back from someone. And I just simply said, "To be honest with you, I don't have a bank account. I don't have credit. My father didn't believe in credit, and I didn't have credit at that time." But the guy says, "But do you want the car?" And I go, "Oh, I mean, sure. I would love to have the car." There was just nothing in my mind that would allow me that would think that I could ever have it so soon. I mean, I was making, I was at $3.15 an hour, and I was lucky if I would get $100 in cash from this hotel in my, 3 or 4 times a week shift. So, but I said, yeah, sure. And he goes, "Come to my office this Saturday around 1 o'clock or something, and let's see if we can work something out." All I thought from my mind is, I'm gonna have another opportunity to drive the car. That was my only motivation. I was gonna get in close proximity of the Toyota Supra again. So I went to the office, and I go to his office, and that's where I found out that the guy is the founder of a real estate builder. He's a builder. The builder way back in the day in Dallas was Woodhaven Homes. So anyway, he, said, if I can have you talk to my banker, and if we can get you approved somehow, do you want the car? I go, "I would love to have the car, but to be honest with you, I do valet driving. I go to school. I don't know if I can afford any payments, but hey, whatever it takes." He goes, "Well, if we can talk about that later." "Okay. I need you to go see this bank in Duncanville, Texas, and talk to my banker, and no promises, but let's see." "Okay, no problem." Once again, my 18-year-old mind has no idea. I'm just trying to see if I can wiggle another test drive. So I make it to the bank. I walk in. I ask for the banker. The banker takes me into her office, and it was a lady, Kelly Conway, if I remember correctly. And she says, "Here's some papers for you to sign." And I wasn't understanding what was going on. And I said, "Well, what are these papers?" "These are the papers to buy the Toyota Supra from Mark." And I said, "Really? How is that possible? I don't have a credit card. I've never had, I don't have savings or anything like that. How is that possible?" "Well, we have a great relationship with Mark. He's the founder of a big builder in Dallas, Texas, and he is going to co-sign the car for you. He's going to co-sign the Toyota Supra for you." And from there, I didn't really know what it was just tough to believe. But anyway, I did all the paperwork. It was about, I think, $405 a month. And I didn't have any payments, and just my $1,900 car. So anyway, after it's all said and done, I had to go back to see Mark. So I go back to see Mark, and from there I go, I don't know if I can afford to pay this, to be honest with you. I'm a valet driver, work 3-4 times a week, go to school and everything. He said, look, when you presented to test drive the car, you seem like a pretty stand-up guy. Obviously, it was evident that you are a huge fan of this car. So what if I gave you a job where you can afford to make the payments? Are you willing to do that? And I go, yeah, I mean, valet driving is if I had the Toyota Supra, I have no need to park anybody else's car. But what am I going to be doing? And he said, well, I noticed that you're bilingual. You speak Spanish as well as English. And I just bought some land close to where you live, Oak Cliff, Texas, and I need someone to help sell homes on the lots that I just bought. So long story short, I'm in 11 minutes on the story. But I got to pick up the Toyota Supra a few months after driving it for the first time, having absolutely no idea how I would ever get to own the car. I mean, much less anything else. I just wanted to be close to it. I wanted to see it every day, and every opportunity that I got, I wanted to drive it. I just wanted to be around it. And that's all I knew as an 18-year-old that's never had a credit card, that's never had a savings account, and spent, every bit of $1,000 for my $1,900 car, where my dad paid the other $900. So now, as a 43-year-old adult, I want to encourage you to don't worry about the how of anything. That's the key to the secret. Our minds are just too smart, just way too smart for our own good. So, anything that you're going after, just start putting pictures up, envision yourself in it. And every single day, just be in the proximity of whatever it is that you want, or start acting the part. Whatever that is, just walk and talk and dress. And if that big multi-million-dollar house that you want, whatever it is, just, every weekend go and be in the proximity of those things. Don't worry about the how. We hear it all the time now, but I'm serious. Just don't worry about the how. Just be in the proximity, believe it, and eventually, lightning can strike, and the world just figures out a way to wiggle and move rocks for you to have that thing that you're wanting. So hopefully this story helps. I know I was 18, but I've been using that for my whole entire life, from my kids to my wife to where I live and what I drive. There hasn't been anything that I haven't used the power of proximity and the secret and everything like that. So hopefully this brought you value, and follow me for more. Talk to you then.